I technically waited a month to start writing this review, thinking Android 14 and the Pixel 8 Pro would change anything, and for most, it didn't. The Pixel 7 Pro was the best Pixel that you could have bought, but with 2023 ending and 2024 starting, is that still the case? Of course it is, but let's talk about it. Hello everyone, this is Matt from Real World Review, and yeah, I don't think that the Pixel 8 Pro is worth the upgrade. Let's get started. First of all, I never liked having a polished metal frame. Yes, even on iPhones, but the thing that I hate most about this is how easy the camera gets scratched. If you've seen Pixel devices as of late, the camera bar won't be jarring. But what is jarring is the fact that they scratch so easily, even in a case. The white color is nice, but the silver aluminum just makes it look so bad because it gets scratched up really easily. This is just natural wear and tear, though the sides have been pretty decent. The top of the phone is where you get the 5G millimeter wave antenna as well as a microphone, while the left side is where the SIM tray is, eSIM optional. The right side is where we get the power and volume buttons, nothing really fancy here. The bottom is where you get the loudspeaker, microphone, and USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 port, which is on par with the newest iPhone and the Pixel 8 Pro. Then we have the speaker, which pairs with the earpiece and gives you a stereo feel that sounds good and clear for the most part. Of course, we have to talk about the screen, which Google calls a display. Technically on their compare page, it's just a QHD+, no special Super Actua name or anything like that. It is, however, a more pixel-dense screen when compared to the 8 Pro on paper, but doubt that translates to a noticeable difference in real life. The pixel density is 512 on the 7 Pro, while the 8 Pro is 489 pixels per inch. Strange to see. What I do here is different in person is the brightness, which the Pixel 7 Pro goes up to 1000 nits of HDR content in 1500 nits peak in direct sunlight. For me, since I have auto brightness off, I should expect under 600 nits, which is still pretty bright for my use cases. Look guys, I have to go based off what other people tell me because I can't spend $250 plus on a light meter for screens. It's just too much. The screen though is beautiful. I finally put a screen protector on mine, so there are some scratches on this and the screen. Sad. But also this does have the curved Gorilla Glass Victus. Yes, Gorilla Glass is not for scratches, but more for drops, though that doesn't really matter. In the screen we have the optical fingerprint scanner, which works fairly well even with the screen protector on. Yes, I am a hater of the fingerprint scanner on Pixel phones, but maybe after some updates they made it better? I'm not really sure. That said, this phone does have Face Unlock, which I rely on most of the time. At the very top of this, we get a 6.7-inch 1440p OLED display that has a fixed focus front camera, which amazes me because I don't understand why it took until the 7 series to get Face Unlock again. The screen does run super smooth. Thanks for asking. This is thanks to the 120Hz max refresh rate, which is LTPO, or it lowers the refresh rate under 60Hz when needed and back to 120Hz when needed as well. Pair this with a 5000 mAh battery and you get spectacular battery life that rivals the Pixel 6 Pro. Yes, the joke is that the battery life isn't really the best on this phone, but after using this again, I have to say that the battery life isn't actually that bad. I mean, I flew 17 hours across the world during a night flight, and my phone was only at 60% when I landed. Getting through the day on normal usage, you'll be fine. Let me talk about the back again, just for a second. The glass on the top and bottom is also Gorilla Glass Victus, but this is unfortunately glossy. If you want a matte back, you will have to choose the Pixel 8 Pro. Yes, even the 8 only has a glossy back. I do like the design of the camera bar, which makes every camera feel very obvious. There is a little flicker sensor in the middle of the camera, which does nothing in my experience, with the right side housing the microphone and the camera flash. I guess you can't really call a Pixel's flashlight a camera flash anymore, right? The design of the phone is pretty sturdy. Sure, you have glass on the front and the back, but at 212 grams and the height of 6.4 inches, it's a pretty big phone, so it does feel sturdy. Now the irony is that Pixels are really just software holders. This runs Android 14 now and will continue getting updates until at least October 2025, while security patches will end on October 2027. We are yet to see the different date promises come into fruition, but the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro will not get Android 16, at least that's what it seems like, while the 6A will be getting the end of Android 15. That also means that the Pixel 7 Pro will get Android 16, but not Android 17. So maybe 2 years of major software updates left for this phone? That's not that good. Of course, just like the 7-year promise of the 8 series, this can change and we might get more updates. It's also funny to see Google supporting 10 different phones right now, but only 4 different processors. Actually, by the end of August 2024, Google will be full Tensor with no Qualcomm chips holding them back. Just Samsung. Yes, the Tensor G2 chip in this phone is fast, but slow for other stuff. Gaming has never really been a Pixel's strong suit, but besides that, the phone is fast enough for everything. All the AI stuff is hit or miss, ironically, with camera processing being super fast, but a simple edit can slow your phone down. It's just really strange. But the normal daily task is very simple to do on this phone, never leaving me waiting for longer than I deserve. This pairs with 128, 256, or 512 gigabytes of UFS 3.1 storage, this one being the Wii 128 gigabytes and 12 gigabytes of RAM. This makes this phone a beast in multitasking, something no one would say before the Pixel 5. But the software is the main appeal of this phone, and Android 14 runs well on this phone. But it has to. Realistically, there's like 3 differences to this software and truly does feel the same as Android 13. Waiting for it to make this review was definitely not worth it, especially when a feature I saw finally came to this phone was half-baked. See, on a normal phone, or I don't know, every iPhone ever, when you type in your code, it unlocks. You don't need to press enter, but for some reason Google never did this on Pixel or Nexus phones until now. Except this only works with 6 or more characters and mine is 4. It's the little things like that and the internet toggle that make me wonder why Google is like this. I get it, don't copy, but I seriously think that Google's the last company that doesn't enter without pressing enter. But then you get the always on display, the Google launcher, the Google camera, Pixel camera, and all these Pixel exclusives that make you realize that this is what Pixels are all about. And the Pixel 7 Pro gives you almost everything you deserve, thanks to that 8 Pro stealing features that even the Pixel 6 Pro could probably run. But look, we get all the 5Gs, Wi-Fi 6E, fast-ish wired and wireless charging at 23 watts, and reverse wireless charging, now with an official toggle to turn it on or off when charging the phone. See, that was a feature that was automatically on since the Pixel 5, but now it's a toggle. Google understands that they can make changes for the better. I just hope they do it for literally everything else. I enjoy using Pixel devices, and yes, I'm letting you wait one more section for the cameras. Please don't skip though. The Google Pixel is a strange phone because it's not perfect because it's not supposed to be. The Pixel is a good way for Google to show off their software that is supposed to end up in Google's software. It's like a chef saying they only make the food that they enjoy, but then sell it to appeal to the customers. It's okay to cut corners somewhere, but you have to cut the right corners. Making a house that doesn't have gas? Sure, we can stick to electricity. No air conditioning in a house at all? Get ready to sell it for cheaper. But Pixels are cheap, in the used market at least. I love the used market for that reason, as I've mentioned in pretty much all of my Pixel 6 series reviews. Google still sells this phone for $900 new, while Swappo will sell them used for half off. And sometimes you can find new Pixel 7 Pros for Pixel 7 prices. And for that, you get a pretty good processor with Google software that's only found in a handful of phone models. The experience is what you pay for, but the side effect can be sometimes defective parts. Even looking at the specs compared to the 6 Pro and 8 Pro, the 7 Pro is closer to the 8 Pro. I looked at the 8 Pro specs and would still consider the 7 Pro to anyone given the price difference, but those cameras are slightly different. As I've said in other Pixel videos, what is a Pixel review if you don't have a section for the cameras? Okay, that's heavy paraphrasing, but the Pixel cameras are spectacular. That said, my only complaints are processing that can make this image look sometimes flat. It's generally an artistic, contrasty picture, but it does feel flat at times. The main sensor is a 50 megapixel wide-angle camera, which pretty much is the same as a 6 Pro, but better somehow. We get the option to crop into the sensor at 2 times, which honestly, why can't we do this on every phone that has a 48 megapixel sensor or higher? The images are the same as you would remember. Some amazing shots that can be slightly cropped into a 16:9 frame, but just capture the image so well even during the nighttime. I feel like the night shots on these phones are good, not awesome. That said, it's not really the easiest thing to do. The camera is optically stabilized, which is a given, but pairs with electronic stabilization during video and makes it really stick to the subject. Then we have the focusable 12 megapixel ultra-wide sensor, which can be used for macro photos and videos, but like the macros, it needs light. But landscape shots allow this camera to shine. By the way, just like the main camera, you can shoot 4K 60 frames per second and switch cameras during recording, going from the ultra-wide to the main all the way to the last rear sensor, the 5x 48 megapixel telephoto sensor. Just like the main, this is optically stabilized and does some wild zooming. Even at 30 times digital, you can still see what you're trying to see, giving you the option of some pretty epic transition shots. Of course, using it as a camera gives you some nice reach as well, though I would have liked to see this as a 3.5 or 4 times camera and then be able to crop into that sensor. So you would get zoom options like a 0.5x, 1x, 2x, 3.5x, and a 7x. Maybe on the the Pixel 9 Pro. Then of course we get the shrinking 10.8 megapixel fixed focus front camera, which is hard to say, that gives you some amazing shots and video, even at 4K 60 frames per second. And now what you've all been waiting for, the phone I took on vacation. Enjoy. Pixel cameras don't need the almost 400 words to explain them, but here we are. The versatility and reach of a Pixel 7 Pro is what makes this camera so spectacular, as well as other features that are built into the app. But there are a lot of gimmicks in here, at least for me, like the magic eraser or the camouflage feature. And I bring this up as a gimmick because everyone and their mom was freaking out when the magic eraser came out with this phone. Actually, I'm wrong, it came out with the Pixel 6, while the Pixel 6a brought in the camouflage feature. What I think is funny is that almost a year and a half later, we have the Waveform podcast just now learning about this as if it's a Pixel 8 feature. It's things like that that make you want to show people the feature exists, but also understand when people never use them. Most people just want a camera to take photos and videos, just point and shoot. There's a decent amount of camera stuff that I skipped, like real tone and cinematic mode, but that's just because I don't really use them. I can respect a lot of things that Google puts in these phones that really seem like gimmicks on the surface, like almost all of the Google Assistant stuff, but ends up being really cool. Buying for this price, I would say that the Google Pixel 7 Pro is good for longevity, but the Pixel 6 Pro gives you a pretty close experience, just with less software support in the future, a dimmer screen, and almost guaranteed worse battery life and modem. There is something I wish that they would take from Apple, and it has to be size. I want a Pixel 7 Pro or even a Pixel 8 Pro in a Pixel 7 or 8 size. This phone is just too big and heavy for me, but again, this was something that I used when I went on vacation. The Pixel 7 Pro is just a really good phone, and this is coming from someone who has an iPhone 14 Pro and a Zenfone 9. And this ends my review of the Pixel 7 Pro, the Pixel you should have got with the 6 Pro. But what do you think about this phone? Do you hate that the aluminum scratches easily, like I do? Let me know what you think, and as always, thanks for watching.